A very good morning to all of you. I am Dr. Prashant K. Gupta. I've been getting a request from number of people about giving them some of the tips and tricks on how to get their research paper published in the conferences, in journals, wherever the places they want their papers to be published. These requests have been coming from students from undergraduate studies, from graduates, even from the people who have been doing doctorate degrees. I have decided to make this video to share my experience that have worked for me throughout the years in successfully getting my research published at top tier places. So let's begin. This is a small introduction about myself. I am Dr. Prashanti Gupta. This is the address to my website. It has all the details about me, including what all the syllabus I have designed, international visits that I have gone on to, my contact information, what is my current role, and where I'm currently doing work, and what all research areas I'm currently working into. My list of publications and all the details can be found over there. I'm by role a current full-time faculty, and by passion I'm a researcher. So today I will be sharing my experience about the research paper publishing. Whenever anyone tries to write a research paper, these are the basic parts that a research paper should contain. These are abstract and keywords, section 1 introduction, section 2 literature review or preliminaries, section 3 proposed methodologies, section 4 results, discussions, comparisons, section 5 conclusion, future scope, and lastly the references. So let us talk about each and every section in detail from here on. First, that is abstract and keywords. Abstract summarizes what is at the details of the research that is contained in the research paper. It is a summary of the complete research. It also sets the tone of the paper and gets the reader of your paper interested into your research work. It is very helpful in also deciding sometimes the reviewers that will be reviewing your paper, which I feel. So then important part comes how to write an abstract. An abstract should contain these four main parts. The motivation, what motivated you, what were the driving factors for you to write this research paper, what is the research that is presented in the paper, from the research that is presented in this paper, what you aim to do, and what are the quantitative results that you obtain after performing comparisons with the other published papers. Next is the introduction section. This is a very important part of the paper. Most of the times, according to my observation, a reader reading your research paper decides to read further or improve upon your research depends a lot on the introduction of your paper. A reader may be interested into your research and may get disinterested depending on how well your introduction is written. An introduction should generally contain these components. It should begin with small background. What are the basic backgrounds? What are the things that motivated you to derive the research? What have been the published works? Just a very small one or two liners about them. Then how these things motivated you to derive or delve into research or perform certain improvements that you intend to do in this research paper. From the motivations derived, what are the current research methodologies that you are proposing in the research paper? From the application of this research paper to some real life case study, what are the quantitative results that you have derived? A very important paragraph of the introduction, or rather the concluding paragraph of the introduction, is the summary on the contents in the different sections that follow the introduction. Next is the literature review or preliminaries. Why I have written literature review or preliminaries, I'll just detail in a while. First of all, if the second section is the literature review after the introduction, then it discusses in detail what all research papers or research works like conferences, journals, book chapters, books, patents, and so on, the reader has read and referred to them for arriving at the research that is presented in the paper. This forms an important base of an understanding about the current research. It also gives the reviewer of the paper an idea whether you have gone for a thorough study of the research or not before arriving at the conclusion related to the current research. If The second section is the preliminaries. Then preliminaries discusses the basic mathematical formulae that are required for understanding the research that you intend to present in this research paper. Now, why I have written second section as either literature review or preliminaries, that is detailed. Next, you can see sometimes there is a limit on the number of allowed pages in any conference or any journal. Over and above those pages, the person who is getting his or her paper published, then they have to pay the extra charges. So to avoiding those extra charges, the person who is writing the research paper are generally required to limit their paper within those required number of pages or permitted number of pages. So some people adopt a strategy that they merge the literature review into the introduction section itself in the form of a very small paragraph, and they make the preliminaries as the second section. Or sometimes people do not use the preliminary sections and put a section number 2 as a literature review in their paper. So generally followed approach is one of the two, either literature review or the preliminaries made at the second section. Then comes the next or the important portion, that is the proposed methodology or the research. This forms the core part of the paper. It actually explains your research and what all important findings you have arrived at. It gives the suitable mathematical formulas, derivations, diagrams, process flow, or any particular suitable technique you can think of for explaining your research that you propose to do in this paper, the novel research that you have arrived at. After performing the research that is derived in the paper, next section is the results discussion and the comparison. The novel research or novel methodology that you have proposed in your paper, you generally tend to apply that on some data set that is publicly available or privately available, some data repository. By publicly, there are a number of publicly available data sets on public repositories. In the private data set, by that I mean that you must have collected a data set that is specific to your research that you have presented in the paper. So by application of this proposed methodology on those data sets, you tend to arrive at certain improvements in the results. So these improvements can be either quantitative or qualitative in nature. So whatever those results or the improvement that you propose in this section, a very important aspect is the comparison with the state of the art, the already established methods in that field of research. Because everyone is interested in the novel research that you have proposed, what are the important findings that you're arriving from them, and how useful is your research in comparison to already established methods in the field. And finally, some people also tend to have a discussion section within this section itself, or rather I should say a subsection within this section, in which they tend to discuss or describe some of the important findings that they have arrived from their proposed research methodology. Next section is the conclusion and future scope. This is the summary section of your research paper. It summarizes the whole of the research that is presented in your paper. A generally followed approach by most of the authors is to write the conclusion section in a reverse order to the introduction. In the introduction, we started with the background, then the motivation that was derived from them, then the proposed research, then quantitative results, and finally a summary. In this, the generally followed approach is in the reverse order, in which the authors start with the proposed research and what the quantitative result that they derive from them, how motivation was derived from already existing techniques before their proposed research was there, and how actually their research has overcome the limitations of the state of art works. And a very important aspect is the possible future application areas where these concepts can be applied. Lastly is the references. References is again a very important part of a research paper. The way of writing the references differs from journal to journal, conference to conference, even the field of the journals. There are a number of styles that are available for referencing, like APA styles and other styles of referencing. Also, the type of writing a reference differs on the basis of either you are referencing a conference paper or a journal paper or a book chapter, books and online series. I strongly advise all the authors to refer to the particular journal where they intend to get their research paper published. and have a look at their referencing style and adopt suitably that style in their research paper. A number of reference managers are also available online for free. One of the most famous ones is the Mendeley Reference Manager. Now, a very important question that comes to the mind of all the authors then, like, how should we limit our text or write-up within a research paper based on the number of allowed pages? So I'll be giving you a very suitable example over here. My example is based on the IEEE double column format of the research paper, where I assume that the total number of paper length allowed is 6 pages. And in this ratio, if the number of pages allowed is more than 6 or less than 6, so I strongly suggest the authors to scale this ratio of the different sections accordingly. Now, very important point over here to note is that whatever suggestions I am giving you over here, they are not to be followed in letter and spirit. That means these are not closed box kind of suggestions. They are mere suggestions. You are free to have an adjustment between these different lengths of these sections. So according to me, abstract, the section 2, which may be the literature review or the preliminaries, the section 5, that is the conclusions, results and discussions, and the references portion should be from 1/4 to 1/2 of the page. So in double column format, you can accordingly adjust the length. Like for example, 1/4 will be half portion of the one column. Half page will be the one complete column. Now section 1, that is the introduction. Section number 3, the proposed research, and finally section number 4. Oh, sorry, section number 5 over here above was the conclusion results. Section number 4 is the proposed research method. Section 3 is your proposed methodology, and section 4 is your the result that you're arriving. So that can be 1 to 1.5 pages. So thank you all for watching my this video. In case you want one-on-one coaching with me, so feel free to write to me on my email ID. Thank you very much for watching.